Okay, back on the mini Zonda. When I took this one out the other day, just about cooked the motor on that side, and this side was fine. So I'm thinking we got, you know, a blockage or whatever. I've got to figure that out. I've also got one of these rudders, the 4 pickups, 2 outlets that I'll fit on here. I'm not quite sure if it can fit in those bolt holes there. It looks pretty close. If it can't, I'll make it fit in the original bracket there and fit that in there. Just run the pin from there through here. It's a little bit shorter, which is fine because it's actually wider. Okay, so that rudder worked out fine. The bracket was a little bit different here. All I had to do was enlarge one of the holes. Just ran a 4mm drill through the 3mm hole, and that allowed me to move it down a little bit onto here. Now I was going to just change the colour of the tubing, and I was going to go with red and black. Probably looks alright. And then I thought I might just go to large tubing as well, just to make a 10-minute job turn into an hour job. But then, you know, then it's going to be a better job, I suppose. The outlets on the motor cooler are okay to run a bigger hose. I'll just put a little clamp on them. The speed controller outlets are actually made for a bigger hose. It's the small hose is a real stretch to get over there. So my problem is like 2 of these large outlets don't really fit just inside here. So what I'd have to do is slide this up a little bit here, kind of more elongate the hole and kind of move it up there and squeeze this one in here, because I can't just put it there. It's just going to look stupid. With the outlets, I'd have to change them to large as well, and there's no real room in here to run another hose kind of next to it. It's too much of a sharp bend. So what I would do is just forget about that outlet and just put one on each side of the large size. Actually, looking at that, if I'm real careful, I think I can just enlarge that hole and squeeze this one right next to it before this flat part here comes on. Okay, so there it is. Now there's two ways to fit these in with the hose. You can either put the hose in there and then pull some hose through the bottom and then push it in, or put this in first and then split your hose and slide that in. Because my hole is the exact size this needs to be, I think it's 8.3 is the drill bit that I use for that. It just makes it for a perfect fit. You can't really push the hose in there first and push it in, because that little bit of tightness makes it too tight to push in the hole. So what you do is just waste some tubing, just have it like that, just so you can get to it. I'll do the bottom one first, so you can reach it here, and while that's in that bit there, not tight on there, then you can push it in with that size drill, and it's a beautiful tight fit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with WD-40 so it can slide along, because it's very tight in there. Because I don't have much room underneath it, I could turn straight away, which is hard, but there we go. So that's that one. I'll just do the same on there. Okay, so there it is. Got the big tubing on there now. I mean, the choke point is the motor cooler, and that's why I've had to put these little clamps on there. So I really don't think the larger tubing is going to make any flow difference, but the twin pickup rudder will. This is the old one. So we're going to find out how it turns with this shorter but wider rudder. It didn't turn very well at all with this, so we'll see what happens. And end up putting an outlet on each side here. It was just less restrictive doing that way than doing an almost 90-degree turn up to here where the old one was. Alright, got the mini Zonda out. Let's see how hot or not things get. That was pulling a bit. Steering direction that way. Oh, you gotta test how it turns too.
Turns better?
Yeah, not even flat out turning yet. Before I was having to back off to actually turn.
Right.
Oh shit.
I'm glad you can try and turn the
Damn thing again. Oh yeah, it's quick.
That's quick.
Be quick. Okay, that probably took 2 minutes to rescue, but for the temperature side of things, the thing is stone cold. Just to recap on the rudder, my rudder didn't fit exactly perfectly. It was about 0.5 millimeter out, the hole spacing here. All I did was drill the next size up hole in here, and that I got away with it. So that fixed that. Being shorter but wider actually helped it a lot. I noticed in the first video of this boat it was bouncing up and down like that at full speed, but it stopped doing that with this one here. It sat much better. It actually turned better as well, so I went from not being able to turn sharp enough and I was having to back off to actually get around corners to being able to turn too sharp. So that's a good thing. What else? Now you'll notice my build here is set out differently than the ones we've got on the website. The one that I sent BP, the speed controllers in that one there are mounted up the top and the batteries are down the side there. That is the better way to do it because the weight is lower. I didn't do it like that, I guess, because I just wanted to run one pack between the two, and that was so many years ago I put this together. I can't actually remember, but it's probably was my thinking. I still don't know what kV motors I put in there. With the extra cooling, it does run stone cold at on 3S with the 2 blade props. So I'm going to give it a go on 4S and see how hot everything gets. I imagine the kVs aren't going to be too high for 4S, seeing it was so cold on 3S. 6S, you know, then to go 6S I would have to move the speed controllers up here and put a battery down there on each side. A 3S, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I just don't have the room for boats that go too fast in a lake. And these rudder blades are going to be, I'll put a link for it in the description of this video.